There we go. That should be me, right? Hey, hi. Good morning. Happy Friday. Weekend's coming and it's raining. I think the hurricane from down there is hitting the entire upper Midwest, and obviously it's killing the East Coast, according to New Yorkers who are obviously blaming everything on global warming because that's the be all end all of everything, right? But hey, we're all here and we'll be okay. And a little rain is probably good for my yard. So hey, here we go. So, but it is going to put a little bit of a damper on my weekend. Did you catch that? A damper on my weekend. Yes, I'll be here for the next 90 minutes. Well, roughly. Anyway, I hope everyone's having a good morning. I have decided I was going to just rant today, but I'd rather do an open mic show and allow you to rant. So I got a pinned comment up there that says where to go if you want to jump in the green room. Also, it'll pop up in the stream every once in a while. And we're going to have an open mic day, even though there's a couple things I want to go over first. And since no one's in the green room right now, that's a good thing. So why don't we just go ahead and get that little pesky intro out of the way, and then we'll get right into it. Johnny, will you do me the honors, please? Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. And yes, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet, and welcome to the PDawgKnight Channel. It is Friday, the 3rd of September, 2021, Labor Day weekend. That's a big one. That's always a good one. Now, why didn't that? That's interesting. I just noticed that it gave me that weird thumbnail. I wonder if I can change that within here. Anyway, I hope you all are having a good morning. I am doing everything I can just to not lose it. There's so much what is the word? What's the word for it, man? It's just silly stuff. I mean, it's watching the media try to make up for our president in so many ways. So many out there just, they can't stand the fact that their most popular president in the history of all times ever seems to be dropping many balls. You know what I mean? Oh, that's a good point. Gayest person on YouTube. Why do you get Johnny to play the intro and not just hire one of the other 3 Martys? Well, let's put it this way, okay? Marty Ogique is a very, very busy man. Marty, he's very technical and does a lot of things. And then Marty O'Connor, he's doesn't live here. He lives in Toronto. And then Marty Francis, he's just not all that reliable. So you're stuck with me and Johnny. And that's just how it is. Okay. So that's what it is. Anyway, hail the Marty Quartet. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm actually, the 4 Martys may be recording another song here soon. I am actually the arranger. I do most of the arrangements for the 4 Martys, and but together though we've kind of been working on a new one for this year, a new Christmas ditty and we'll see what happens. It's this one I'm actually doing an original arrangement, so it's a little more difficult because I'm not. Even when I was I was a music major in college, if you didn't know that, for at least the first 2 years, and then I quit realizing that I didn't want to be a music teacher. And but I never did a whole lot of writing, a whole lot of arranging things. So I didn't monetize this video. I'm gonna monetize this too. Let's see if I can fix that. So it's like I didn't really I didn't do a lot of arranging of music, even though I was planning on being a choir director. So this has been actually kind of fun. I did that arrangement of Carol of the Bells. It was a version of something I had sung before in high school, but I made some changes to it to fit 4 male voices, and it worked out. And so now this year I thought, maybe I'll make another one of those. Everyone seemed to get a kick out of it. And so, is what it is. So anyway, so I hope to do that again this year. So yes, Special Can Acid. For whatever reason, Marty O'Connor moved to Toronto, and I think that's a temporary move. I think he'll be moving back soon. In fact, he actually travels between here and Toronto, and and I've never been to Toronto. I should probably go up and visit him sometime. But anyway, so that's just okay. Let me be honest. That's the first city I could think of. So anyway, I hope like I said, I hope you're having a good day. I kind of want to talk a little bit about the oh my gosh, there's a couple things that the media is doing that's just driving me up the freaking wall. Particularly, someone brought my attention to this USA Today article, which is a fact check article on Joe Biden, because someone decided to fact check. Well, here, let me show you the tweet first. All right. And it doesn't really make sense. Hang on a second. Let me get this done here. Oh, did he? Oh, it looks like oh, here it is. So this is it. This is really pissing me off. I'm sorry. It really is. Let me get this on the screen. Oh, well, you know what? Before I do that, let me say good morning, everybody. My mind's not quite here today. I'm not Joe Biden, not quite that mind not here, but it's just a little bit off. But let's do this. Let's say good morning, everybody. Because first in the chat today was that's not right. Is that right? Hang on a second here. I almost messed up. First in the chat today was our friend Seamus Derby. Nice to see you. Good morning, sir. Nice to have you back. Also, good morning, Select a Boy. Yeah, boy. And Advocatus Diablo, the Devil's Advocate, Attack Alpaca. It's a lot of A's today. 3 in a row. Advocatus Diablo, Devil's Advocate, Attack Alpaca, and Aaron Meredith, the 3 A's. And then we got Special K on Acid. Not emphasizing ass or anything. Also, good morning to Atheist Icon. All the A's are together. It's amazing. Also, good morning, Jesse Leon, DI Freighter Watcher, the gayest person on YouTube. No, DI Freighter Watcher is not the gayest person on YouTube. The gayest person on YouTube is their own special person. Also, good morning to Renee Mayette. Hello. I gotta scroll on this one. This is not working as well. Good morning to the Bosch Tube. Is that everybody? There's something wrong with my scrolling on that side of the ledger here. Let me try it on this side. Oh, well, no, that's kind of it. I don't see the Bosch Tube on this one though. Well, if you're here, hi. I'm just gonna hope this will work out. So I'm gonna close this window. Maybe this will help. Good Lord. Do I even need that open? I don't. I'm turning it off. I only need to broadcast on one side. So anyway, I want to talk about this. First of all, I'm going to show you the tweet because it's just so odd. And then we'll go into the rest of it. So here is the tweet we're discussing from somebody named Daniel Funk. Oh my God, this is going slow. I'm going to change my processor, by the way. Okay, here we go. So here it is, the tweet by Daniel Funk. Listen to this, because I know a lot of you saw the video, and you may have heard some of the Gold Star families talk about this. And I'm not sure what this guy's trying to do here. He's so up in Biden's taint that he cannot just say, yes, he did what they said he did. New fact check. A viral photo makes it look like President Biden checked his watch during a ceremony honoring U.S. service members killed in Kabul. But that is misleading. Is it now? Then he continues, the way Biden honored the 11 caskets presented at Dover Air Force Base on Sunday was similar to how Trump paid respects to fallen service members during his presidency. Wow. This seems like an unnecessary Trump reference, doesn't it? And then somehow the only people who can reply to this are people who DP Funk follows or mentions. But and then he says Biden checked his watch, but he did so after the ceremony had ended. Watch the video for yourself. Now he gives you a little section of C-SPAN here. Okay, and should we even go there? Let's see what he did here with C-SPAN. I'm curious. Yeah, he checked it multiple times. That's what I'm saying. So now, did they give you, let's see what he says here. And look, he's an old man who's losing his faculties. If he checked his watch a couple times, yeah, it's not good for him. Okay. Originally, I thought maybe because there was one version of this. Oh, they have a whole 41 minutes. There was one version of this that where he kind of brought it up, put it down real fast. But apparently, according to the Gold Star families, one that was interviewed on Fox, that he checked his watch with almost every casket that came by. Now, I'm curious if what they show here on C-SPAN. I'm going to mute this. And why did they have, he gave the C-SPAN website. Let's see. Oh, no, you can't do it on this one. I wonder if I can let me pull up the YouTube version. Oh, there we go. So anyway, here, let's just skip this. We all saw it. We know that the Gold Star families, in fact, said he checked his watch multiple times. So let's go into the article from USA Today, if it ever populates on my screen here. Fact check. Biden honored service members killed in Kabul. No one is disputing that he honored the service members killed in Kabul, but then says checked watch during the ceremony. Now, let's just read this article because it's a little bit deceptive here. Oh, there's a correction. There's correction. Let's just finish this first. And then we'll read the correction, because this is, nobody reads the corrections. Nobody comes back and reads the corrections once they've read the article. On August 29th, President Joe Biden paid his respects to U.S. service members who were killed in a terrorist attack at the Kabul airport. The president and the first lady bowed and placed their hands over their hearts as 11 caskets were presented at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. But on social media, some doubted Biden's sincerity. Yes, us evil people on social media doubt his sincerity. One popular post features two photos one of Biden and one of now former Donald Trump. The picture shows Biden appeared to check his watch. It's a photo. It's appearing to check his watch and Trump salutes as men in fatigues carry a casket draped in the American flag. Now, it's funny again, focusing a lot on what the Trump part. This part is what triggered this writer, Daniel Funk, with an E, as opposed to Funky Friday. A picture with 1,000 words reads next over the post published August 30th on Facebook. Similar posts have racked up hundreds of thousands of interactions. Oh no! Hundreds of thousands of interactions. Oh no! On Facebook and Instagram, according to CrowdTangle, a social media insights tool. Now here's the fact check. That's a different one. That President Biden did not sleep through a meeting with new Israeli Prime Minister. No one said he did. I want to read that one. I'm going to open that one too. God, these fact checks are awesome. Biden has taken heat from all sides for the chaotic evacuation of U.S. troops, citizens, and allies from Afghanistan, but this meme's comparison between Trump saluting and Biden checking his watch is missing context. Oh, is it now? The full video of the dignified transfer ceremony shows Biden honored each of the fallen service members. Okay. And then did he get fidgety and check his watch a few times? That's the part that people are talking about. Why are you checking your watch during this ceremony? On August 26th, 11 Marines, one Navy hospital corpsman, and an Army soldier were killed in a bombing and gunfire at Hamid Karzai Airport. ISIS-K and Islamic State affiliate group, boy, they are making sure they put that little ditty in there every time. Can you really tell the difference between ISIS-K, the Taliban, and Al-Qaeda? Do you think some of them are interchangeable parts? I just kind of think they are. And then claimed responsibility for the attack, which also killed at least 169 Afghans. These American service members who gave their lives, they were heroes, Biden said during remarks after the terrorist attack. Yeah, we're not asking why. This is not part of the fact check. We all know this part. On Sunday, Biden met with service members' families who were not happy with him and attended his first dignified transfer as president. Footage from the 45-minute ceremony shows Biden bowing his head and placing his hand over his heart as 11 caskets are carried off a plane and into gray vans. 2 other transfers were conducted in private. He just wants to compare it to Trump. The way Biden paid his respects to the fallen service members is similar to what the Trump did during his presidency. Okay. Oh, yes, Trump saluted each one. Whatever that is. I'm not sure if the civilian president uses a salute or not. It's okay. The image of Trump in the Facebook post appears to stem from a New York Times article published November 21st, 2019, when Trump attended a dignified transfer at Dover Air Force Base to honor 2 Army soldiers killed in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. During the brief ceremony, Trump saluted as 2 caskets were carried into a waiting van. Now note this. Biden checked watch at least 3 times. I don't think this is part of the update, but anyway, while Biden did pay his respects to the fallen service members, photos and video show he also checked his watch during the ceremony. So what are we fact checking here? And why? Associated Press photos taken 10 minutes apart show Biden checking his watch during the ceremony. Another photo from Agence France Presse, distributed by Getty Images, also shows Biden glancing at his watch, although it's unclear what time the image was taken. Well, go check the video. I don't know. Video from C-SPAN shows Biden checking his watch once near the end of the dignified transfer ceremony. Footage leading up to the moment, which was widely shared on social media, shows Biden with his hand over his heart for about 30 seconds as van carries the service member's remains off the tarmac. After the vans left, Biden closed his eyes briefly before dropping his arms and glancing down at his watch. So they're making it sound like, oh, he did afterwards. At that point, everyone else in the video also stands at ease, indicating that the ceremony was over. About 35 seconds later, Biden and the First Lady walk off the tarmac toward a black SUV. Several family members of the fallen members have criticized Biden for glancing at his watch. Is it really? For glancing at his watch? Is that what they said? Is that what they said? No, they did at least link the New York Post article, which we'll get to. As my son and the rest of our fallen heroes were being taken off the plane yesterday, I watched you disrespect us all 5 different times by checking your watch. Shanna Chappell, mother of Marine Lance Corporal Kareem Nikua, wrote in an August 30th Facebook post. Darren Hoover, father of Marine Staff Sergeant Darren Taylor Hoover Jr., and Mark Schmitz, father of Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, told Fox News' Sean Hannity that Biden checked his watch multiple times during the dignified transfer. Hoover said it happened after each casket was presented. USA Today, that would mean Daniel. What's Daniel's last name? Daniel Funk, as opposed to Funky, able to independently verify exactly how many times Biden looked at his watch. Well, wait a minute. You're saying he glanced at his watch once at the end of the ceremony. Why are you writing this fact check if you haven't checked the facts? When asked at an August 31st briefing whether Biden checked his watch, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, as opposed to a Japanese warm cup of liquor. Oops, I did it again. Didn't provide a direct answer. Quote, well, I would say his message to all the family members who were there, those who were not even in attendance, is that he is grateful to their sons and the daughters, the sacrifices they made to the country, that he knows firsthand what it's like to lose a child. Oh my God. They had to bring up Bo again. Bo didn't buy it. By the way, Bo didn't die in combat. Bo died after he returned safely home and then found he had a brain tumor. That he knows firsthand what it's like to lose a child, and the fact that no one can tell you anything or say anything, or there's no words that are going to fill that hole that is left by that. Well, that's, she's true. She's right there. USA Today reached out to the White House and family members of the service members honored during the dignified transfer for additional comment. Really? I'm pretty sure if you actually had reached out to them, they would have told you. They would have been happy to tell you what they saw because they're all pretty pissed off about it. But our rating, missing context. Based on our research, we rate missing context the claim that Trump saluted the caskets of fallen U.S. service members, which is absolutely true, while Biden checked his watch, which is absolutely true. You said it sort of. The way Biden honored the 11 caskets presented at Dover Air Force Base with a hand over his heart was similar to how Trump paid respects to fallen service members during his presidency. However, Biden did check his watch at least 3 times, according to photos and video, reviewed by USA Today. Several family members of fallen service members who attended the ceremony have criticized Biden for checking his watch. It's tacky. But then they give you at the top of this, which nobody has gone back and read, probably, correction and clarification. This story is updated September 2nd to note that Biden checked his watch multiple times at the dignified transfer event, including during the ceremony itself. The rating, oh my God, this was originally rated partly false. The rating on this claim has been changed from partly false to missing context? What's the claim? The claim that they're fact checking. Watch during the ceremony. They're going to need some bigger buckets. Holy shit. They're going to need bigger buckets to carry water for Joe Biden. What's missing context? You just corrected this. Biden checked his watch multiple times at the dignified transfer event, including during the ceremony itself. The rating on this claim, the fact that they called it even partly false, is crazy. And now they're changing it to missing context. Well, what are you fact checking? What exactly are you fact checking here? Holy shit. And you can't even talk. Missing context. Oh, you can't even quote tweet this. Are you kidding me? You can only retweet, and oh my God. They make it so you can't even quote tweet it. Oh, there you go. Yes, you can. Hang on a second. You got to be freaking kidding me. Well, this is embarrassing. So here's some of the replies. He's not going to sniff your hair, bro. Not even close. Trump was way more respectful. Saluting versus checking his watch speaks for itself. Well, that's your opinion. The thing is, the Gold Star families are not amused. You know, the ones that lost their family members due to a bad call from the president. No comparison. Trump actually cared. Why compare to Trump? Yeah, why you didn't need to compare it to Trump. I don't believe anything from USA Today. I mean, this is unbelievable. And these are guess what? These are people who these are people who Mr. Daniel Funk follows or mentioned, can't reply. These are people who can reply to him. This is amazing. Amazing. Oh my God. Now, let's see here. Let's see, where's the other one here? So fact check. You want to see this one? Fact check. Joe Biden did not sleep through meeting with new Israeli prime minister. Okay, now, no one said that he slept through the meeting. Well, now, hold on. I'm going to guess that they're going to cherry pick maybe one person, some random person that tweeted that he slept through the meeting, when in reality, he just dozed. He seemed to have dozed off or closed his eyes and whatever. It maybe dozed off for a second, even though his thumbs are still moving. Have you ever, you've been listening to somebody and you got your hands crossed? Here, let me get this out of here. You get your hands crossed and you're kind of not sleep. You're not completely paying attention. Usually it happens when you're watching TV or something, necessarily when you're listening to the Israeli prime minister during a diplomatic meeting. But you're tired, you watch TV and you're paying attention, you're kind of listening to the show, but you're tired and your eyes are kind of closing, you move your fingers a little bit, and then something in the movie makes a lot of noise. You're back to watching your show. That's kind of what Joe Biden did during this meeting. And they're saying, that the claim is that President Biden fell asleep during a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. Now, I just going to go down to the conclusion here. Full video shows Biden was awake. Our rating false. Really? Oh, a widely shared video is misleadingly clipped to make it if Biden was sleeping as Bennett spoke. The full video shows Biden looked up and responded just seconds after the clip ends. Hey, you know what? We watched that a while back, right? Do you ever, like I said, when you watch TV and you flip out, you can still hear the TV, but you're really just kind of sleeping, and then a loud noise comes. You open your eyes and respond to what's happening, right? Because you kind of know what was happening, even though you're dozing off. Holy shit. Holy shit. These where the water carrying for the Biden administration is just unbelievable. Anyway, we're not going to read that one. Anyway, so as you know, it is Open Mic Friday. If you'd like to join the conversation, or if you'd like to create the conversation, I certainly invite you to click that link. I believe I have it pinned at the top of I have the top, and if you want to jump in the conversation. Also, if by the way, the Morning Night Live is brought to you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. Please share the stream, which I failed to do this morning. Did anyone do that for me? I completely failed. Let me open another Twitter page here, and maybe I'll do that. You know what? In fact, all I'm going to do, it's Open Mic Friday on the Morning Night Live. Hang on a second here. I don't even know if I have the, let's see, what is it? Okay, I don't want to share screen. I didn't even put this out. You know what? If anyone has a second, would you tweet it out? I'll just retweet you, and I'm not going to put it on the other formats there. But anyway, but nice to have everybody here. I see Amy and Connecticut's in the house. Hello, Amy. How you doing? Who else came in while I was doing this here? Is that it? We got, let's see. I don't even know how many people are here. It doesn't say up in the corner of my Streamlabs here. That's weird. Well, if anyone shows up, I will say hi to you too. So anyway, the other thing that I wanted to go through or just talk about, yesterday, Jimmy from Philly, asked me if I had watched the video of him talking to Dr. K. Apparently this guy is the healthy gamer, and he went on Dr. K's he did a live stream with Dr. K and David Pakman. And here's I don't know if any of you have seen it. I'll put a link to it in the chat here. So there's that. So I listened to the whole thing yesterday. I watched it while I was listened to it while I was driving. And I do want to make a couple comments about it. If I don't know how many of you saw it. One of the first thing I noticed, but good morning, Mike Savage, blarg. One of the first things I noticed about this, I thought it was, I was expecting actually a conversation between Jimmy and David Pakman. And what it turned out to be is whoever this Dr. K guy is. First of all, it was weird because he labeled it Dr. K talks to a proud Trump supporter with David Pakman. But there was really nothing about Trump during the whole thing. And there was really nothing that David Pakman was involved in. David Pakman, that Dr. K first said, Dr. K is a kindred spirit with David Pakman in some ways, at least politically, and he likes David Pakman as a a news analyst type thing, and so they have some things in common, and they don't have anything really in common with Jimmy. And so when Dr. K asked David Pakman to introduce this segment, David Pakman came in immediately trying to poison the well. And I want to we'll show you a couple clips here if I can find it. I didn't bookmark the spots here. Let me all right, we'll find it here. As soon as this pops up. I found this part fascinating because as Dr. K is introducing this, he asked David Pakman to introduce, why he's there. And here, let's see. Hang on.
Calls in a lot, and I think they've got like a good and healthy dialogue, hopefully. And that's Jimmy from Philly. And so we're going to hop.
Okay, I'm going to pause this real quick. We'll share it on the screen. It was, as in all therapy sessions, the questions we knew was going to be asked. Have you ever wondered if you're gay, Jimmy? Yeah, that was humorous. But this healthy gamer, Dr. K, basically was treating this as though it was a therapy session for Jimmy. And it was it kind of was kind of weird. Let me get this on the screen here. Let's see. But I want you to listen to Pakman's introduction to this, because he came in and immediately starts basically poisoning the well about Jimmy with the doctor. The doctor, to his credit, asked him why he chose to introduce this the way he did. And so I do give him credit for that. Let me see where we're at here. This is it. Oh,
in many ways a concerning character in some way.
Okay.
David, do you want to go ahead and kick things
so here's
off?
Here's the essential.
Let me do that. Yeah, just to kind of set the situation here. So basically, I talked to all sorts of people on my show. At some point, Jimmy started calling in.
I talked to all sorts of people on my show. Not really. Usually David cuts people off of his show, but for some reason he's came to have this relationship with Jimmy from Philly because Jimmy's persistent. And part of, look, I gotta tell you, the part of Jimmy's issue, or not issue, but his desire is to get David Pakman to debate the hard bastard. And there's a couple things at the end of this I have to laugh about that David said at the end too. But let's get to this part though. Listen how David attempts to immediately poison the well for the healthy gamers audience who is watching this. And also, again, I'm going to talk about this title too. Dr. K talks to a proud, in capital letters, Trump supporter with David Pakman. This whole thing comes off as him trying to use Jimmy from Philly as the typical Trump supporter. And it's a little bit deceptive. Maybe this is a way to get people to watch this video, because otherwise he may not watch it. But anyway, listen to Pakman describe Jimmy. It'll take a second here because
we know Jimmy is Jimmy from Philly. And he would bring to me different ideas and questions. And I found Jimmy to be an interesting character, a sad character in many ways, a concerning character in some ways as well. I think our rapport is sort of okay, although Jimmy does regularly say, homophobic things, transphobic things, racist things, etc. And I think there's probably a lot to dig into there about the sort of origins or oranges of that. A couple things I'll mention about, our dialogue with Jimmy. Jimmy has talked to me about his problems with alcohol, and you guys can probably see he's got some bottles there over his right shoulder. And that's something I've talked to Jimmy about before. Jimmy has talked about how he has a daughter, but at least at one point
okay, hang on, let me just stop there. So Pakman's setup is immediately poison the well. He said some homophobic things and transphobic things and racist things, and he looks like he's bringing up his problem with alcoholism and whatever, which Jimmy fully admits. Jimmy's an open book. Yes, it's Jimmy from Philly White. They can't even get his pronouns right. Oh, I just have to put that up there, Renee. That's funny as hell. Oh, what the hell's going on with my screens? Anyway, so basically Pakman is immediately poisoning the well here. And I think you'll see what Dr. K does with this, because I don't think David was expected to be even called on this, but
wasn't allowed to see her because of some physical violence that Jimmy was at least accused. I'll say he was accused of, and we'll maybe leave it to Jimmy to tell us more about the specifics of that. Jimmy was also arrested not long ago because of, as I understand it, chasing a car with 4 black teenagers down the street while intoxicated. And that led to a sort of legal situation as well for Jimmy. And that's kind of the Jimmy that I know big picture. And every once in a while, Jimmy will say something that's sort of open, and he seems open to considering other ideas, etc. But very quickly, he'll go back into the transphobia, the homophobia, the racism. That's Jimmy as far as my relationship with him, which has been through the internet.
So Pac-Man comes in with this, he's basically setting up that Jimmy's a bad person, if unless you think those things are good from David's standpoint, but he's coming in as Mr. Benevolent here. He's trying to be so benevolent. I'm this caring guy who's trying to help Jimmy, and that's why we're bringing you to Dr. K. Listen to Dr. K's reaction to this.
Quite the introduction. So I want to just clarify a couple things. So I noticed, David mentioned like alcohol use and things like that. So just to clarify and make sure we're all on the same page, Jimmy, I am a psychiatrist, but my understanding of this conversation is that, I'm not here because David's here too. We're going to just 3 people having a conversation.
And what's interesting, David was almost never part of this conversation. It was almost the entire conversation was between Jimmy and Dr. K with very little interaction from David. So just FYI.
I wanted to just make sure that, are you under the impression that I'm your medical doctor or that I'm here to diagnose you with anything, treat you for anything? Okay. So we're just going to have a conversation and try to understand each other better. So the goal of what we do, the reason I stream is just so that we can try to understand people better and share that understanding with everyone who's watching. Are you kind of cool with that?
Yes. And Jimmy is absolutely
so you
open
understand,
book.
If after the call, if you do sort of decide that you do want mental health support or treatment or things like that, you're welcome to kind of message us and we can kind of provide you with resources. We do that for every, guest that comes on. But that's kind of at your request. We're not going to push anything on you or recommend anything or anything like that. It's just sometimes.
I'm sure I'll be just fine.
Okay. So Jimmy, is it okay if I kind of ask you, do you want to share a little bit? Like, do you want to offer an introduction or I've got a couple of questions already.
Ask away.
I want to.
So first of all, like, how did it feel?
Hang on. Where did he get to? I wanted to get to Pac-Man.
To hear David's kind of like litany of how he introduced you.
Well, he's gotten a lot of it wrong, actually.
Okay. Can you?
When I did the call with him last year, I clearly said that they were 4 black 20-somethings, not teenagers.
And this is an interesting story. So let Jimmy tell the story
in
here.
Philadelphia. It occurred in the suburb of Philadelphia. Let's see, what else? I was arrested for public drunkenness, but I beat the case. They had a video of me going after a car. It doesn't prove that I was drunk. They had arrested me because I was off my the video showed them that I was off the property, and they said I was publicly drunk. The video.
So anyway, I'm gonna. This story is. I'll just make this story short. So some people in a car were always screw with Jimmy's Trump signs. Jimmy lives in Philly and he has Trump signs in his yard. And these guys were stealing his Trump signs. One day there's 4 of them in a car, 4 20-somethings in a car that came out and stole his Trump signs, and then were riding around the block and kind of taunting Jimmy because he wanted his signs back. So Jimmy, I guess he had a few beers, but he went to chase the car to get the signs, and then someone called the police and they arrested him, and then eventually the charges were dropped in the end. And but to David Pac-Man, and David Pac-Man knows full well the full story because they've talked about it before. But Pac-Man, again, this is in his way to poison the well, is to say Jimmy was arrested for chasing 4 black teens, making it a race issue, not a fact that someone stole Jimmy's property issue. So the whole introduction that he does there is just him poisoning the well. I'm going to see if I can catch up to where Dr. K asks him a question, though. Hopefully we can get this to, I wish this would go faster. I need to, oh, shoot.
The video of me doing this and beat the case because.
I mean, thanks for sharing that, Jimmy. I appreciate it. But what I'm kind of curious about is like when you have kind of your side of the story, and like I was frankly kind of shocked. I mean, David, is it okay if I be critical of you for a second?
Please, I would love it.
So like here he is introducing you, and like he starts off with like bottles in the back and like got arrested for this and like, you know,
it's called poisoning the well.
David's a real charmer.
Yeah, I mean, how does that feel to be? I mean, like, because it's almost like he's sharing like the most negative or provocative things about you.
Well, David's a propagandist. What can I tell you? I mean, he's good at it, you know.
Yeah. So how does that make you kind of feel to be introduced?
I was laughing like the entire time.
I noticed that. Yeah, that's what I was kind of asking. Right. Because
I don't get offended easy, Doc. If that's what you're getting at, I really don't. People can say what they want. I really don't care.
Yeah. So
I'm a generally happy person.
Yeah.
So now see what David wants to make hay out of it in this situation is basically that I'm crazy for going after the car. Well, I had 2 choices, Doc. How many men are going to sit there when 4 men come onto their lawn, take their property? I don't give a shit what it was. Took 4 of my Trump signs. Then they have the temerity to drive around the neighborhood 3 times, yelling racial epithets at me, haunting me with the signs out the window, and I'm just supposed to sit there like a little soy boy? I don't think so.
You see, David, I don't know if you saw this, and maybe you should watch David as Jimmy recalls this. Watch David's face here, because David's kind of
neighborhood 3 times, yelling racial epithets at me, haunting me with the signs out the window, and I'm just supposed to sit there like a little soy boy? I don't think so. That's not going to happen. That's not the type of person I am. I am going to do something about it, right or wrong.
All right. So anyway, as this goes on, this becomes a conversation between Jimmy and Dr. K. And Jimmy has had, from my perspective, Jimmy's had a rough life, a very rough life. And now that he's in his 50s, he's reflected a lot back on it and made some very positive changes in his life. But if you went down the list of the things that they go through in this thing, you understand that, you know, Jimmy's had to overcome a lot to get where he is. And, you know, and it's not anywhere similar to my life at all. You know, and I think of myself as living a very good life. But Jimmy went through the whole litany, you know, between the fact that he was, you know, put into a school when he was young, and his mom kind of didn't want him there, and his dad wasn't around, and you know, he's been arrested, he had some alcohol problems, gone through Alcohol Anonymous, he's gone through all this stuff. His daughter doesn't talk to him anymore. She's at Harvard though, you know, which he's very proud of that. And so they go through all this, and it sounds like, you know, it sounds like this guy's a psychiatrist, so it's a psychiatry session, right? And David doesn't say so much, you know, he asks him a couple things here and there. So anyway, they get through all this thing, and the whole, and you got to watch the stream yourself to, you know, listen about Jimmy's life. But Jimmy, you know, he's just it's funny, for whatever reason, I know that most of the people that I know from Philly have some similar attributes to Jimmy. Very, I wouldn't say brash, but very, very straightforward, and they'll goof on each other and whatever. And it's just a very similar thing. So they get to this thing, and this guy, Dr. K, I want to go to his summary. Okay. Because it's very fascinating after this long conversation, and they had a great conversation, and this guy's very good at getting Jimmy to talk. And, you know, a couple of things that you know, when they did talk to Pac-Man, he's not surprised that this is this guy's way he is. But remember what the title of this stream is. Dr. K talks to a proud Trump supporter. Okay. And in the process of doing his psychoanalysis of Jimmy, and Jimmy is Jimmy's a cool dude. He doesn't let things, you know, he doesn't let this all get to him. He knows what they're doing. They're trying to psychoanalyze it. And so at the end, he gets rid of David, he gets rid of Jimmy, and the doctor has his own like summary of what happened. And you know, Jimmy's quite a character, and the guy's basically attempting not to laugh, but he's also very I think he's fairly fair and generous as far as Jimmy himself. But I want you to listen to because there's some points I need to make about. By the way, during this time, Jimmy mentioned that when he was younger, he was politically somewhat more liberal, and now he's, you know, I think it was his brother or someone who talked to him and you know, tried to get him to see things in a different way. And Jimmy kind of changed his mind and became more, you know, well, let's just say he went from being a liberal to a Trump supporter at some point. Although this was early in his life, not necessarily a Trump supporter, but just went from being on the left to being on the right. He changed over time, like many of us who mature in life do. You know, not everybody, but some people, you know, your political views change. And in fact, sometimes people go from being conservative and then turn to a liberal in their older. It's not as often going that way, but the more you learn, you realize that human nature, you tend to become more conservative as you grow older. But I want to listen to this summary that he starts doing, because this is the part that fascinated me in some of the things he was saying. So let's see if I can catch this here.
All right, very good.
All right.
Okay, thanks so much, guys. Dr. K, really appreciate it.
Yeah, wait, thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Wait. Oh, I forgot about something. Before I do that, David Pakman does something. He's especially if you follow Hard Bastard and listen to Hard Bastard talk about David Pakman. David Pakman has this little quirk that he does where he pretends not to know something. And I'm laughing about this because here's where Pakman does it. Let me see if I can catch it here. Because Jimmy talks about his ulterior motive for going through this entire like hour and a half session, basically. And why isn't the volume off? Here in the
600, 15 minutes before the stream started.
No, but what I'm asking, Jimmy, is from the time you wake up till you go to sleep, are you consuming the whole time?
No.
Okay. Yeah. David comes up and starts. They're really concerned about the fact that Jimmy smokes and Jimmy vapes and that Jimmy sometimes drinks. And apparently Jimmy is into LSD. I'm not real familiar with that. What is a hard bastard? What is such a thing? Oh yeah. Anyway, so here we go. Here's let's see if we can get into this. Hopefully you'll see this.
I do hit these whippets a little hard. I mean, you know, but not in the morning or not, you know.
Now Jimmy's going to tell us about why
and
he
then
did
absolute
this. Last
thing, just because AA was such a prevalent thing. Are you sober now from the standpoint of alcohol?
No, but I've had that for 10 days.
Okay.
The bottle behind you.
3 strong beers, 9 or 10%.
Let's see if I can get to it.
On a stream.
David, I'm kind of curious. What pushes you to ask questions to Phil about Jimmy, about how much substances he's using?
Well, I'm curious in my interactions with him, how influenced by substance use they might be. Because I'm hearing, I'm getting an email or hearing a voicemail. And my instinct is it would help me maybe to frame the context a little bit if I know maybe what his state of mind is. That's my kind of.
So he's trying to claim Jimmy's Jimmy's political views on his alcoholism.
Well,
because Pakman just doesn't understand it.
Jimmy, any questions from your end?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Did he say?
I had a great time. Thanks, fellas.
Did he say it? Oh, did I miss it?
Thank you very much.
Let's do this again in a year. Let's do this again.
Sure. David, you want to go ahead and wrap up, or?
Yeah, well, listen, I appreciate everybody's time. Jimmy, you know, you and I have known each other a couple of years now in some sense, and this has really been informative for me. I feel like I better understand you now. And, you know, Dr. K, I really appreciate you lending your expertise and, you know, leading us through this. I feel like I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let me say this, David. My end game here with you, right, is to get you to debate the hard bastard.
Now listen to this.
And one day,
where he pretends not to have any idea what he's talking about.
Who, the hot bastard?
The hard bastard.
Okay.
Now, this is a technique that David does, where he pretends not to know what someone's talking about. Or, oh, I had never heard of this. I've never done this before. Jimmy has been interacting with David for a year and a half, 2 years now. And a great part of the conversation between Jimmy and David Pakman for the last 2 years has been the fact that Jimmy wants David to debate Hard Bastard, my friend, the Hard Bastard. He's been on my show a few times, and I interact quite a bit. Okay. David knows exactly who the Hard Bastard is, even though the Hard Bastard doesn't have quite the following David does. Jimmy has mentioned him so many times, but David tries to when he wants to diminish somebody, he'll pretend to have never heard of them. Oh, the what? The hot bastard? I never heard this before. This Jimmy, part of the agreement here, part of one of the reasons Jimmy said he would do this is because in their conversations, they were interested in getting David Pakman to debate Hard Bastard. And David pretends he has no idea who that is. All right, let me keep going here because I want to go into the summary that this guy gives. This is the part that I have some thoughts on. All right, so
all right. Well, let's talk about that in this spirit of openness and exploration and honesty.
Yes,
it sounds great.
Hard Bastard is a YouTuber.
He knows exactly who it
David
is.
Every night he streams.
Okay, we're gonna skip this.
Absolutely.
As Dr. K, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the opportunity, Jimmy. It was nice to meet you, man. And David, take care. Thanks for setting this up.
All right, now watch Dr. K.
Right, we'll talk to everybody soon.
Now that was something else.
Now he's being very careful.
What on earth?
Let's see if I can find it in the chat, because HB probably was in the chat at the time too.
My favorite quotes: you got to fight fire with fire and beat them at their own game. Sometimes fire doesn't work. You got to use water.
And that's a quote from Jimmy.
Jimmy was fantastic, man. You know, it's so interesting because I think a lot of times we now
listen to this.
Oh, maybe I need to go this way. Oh my God. So I think a lot of times, man, I
want to see. The Whippet God just, favorite quote, the Whippet God just delivered 600 to my door. Yeah, Jimmy has a thing with the Whippet cans. Anyway.
What did y'all think, chat?
I'm trying to figure out. Philly is a different place. Dr. K choking me. Oh no. I'm trying to read the chat here. Fight fire with fire refers to making fire breaks to stop the fire from finding fuel. Let's see here. I really appreciate Jimmy's openness and patience with the whole thing. Seemed like he really enjoyed it. Cool. Good for them. I never did get to see. I didn't pay attention to the chat too much because I wasn't watching it live. Let's see. All right, let's get into Dr. K here. Some people call Jimmy a loose cannon.
Like people are saying, like it was, I mean, he was quite the character. And it's really interesting because I think it's like, I don't know if y'all kind of caught this, but at the very beginning, like it was really hard to get him to talk about himself. It's like any personal question you ask him becomes about propaganda and so like the media, and like it becomes like an externalized issue.
You know what? Here's the thing, though, and he should know this as a psychiatrist, that people aren't going to talk to themselves when you begin a session. And this guy was really good at asking open questions, non-threatening questions, just to get Jimmy to open up, and he did a really good job of that. I give him credit for that. But let's see. Let him go here.
And then once you start to like actually get him talking, like, you know, I think he's someone that really views the world as like, you know, he's had to, I want y'all to just think about this for a second. So sometimes when people have very strong views, they're incredibly rigid, right? Like they're.
Now, when he's saying that when people have strong views, then they're incredibly rigid. I want you to think about that in the context of the fact that Jimmy said during the session that he was, and you didn't hear it because you'll have to watch yourself, but during the session, he says, yes, I used to be this. And then I, listened to somebody talk and I was open to it. And then I realized what I've seen and my views changed. Okay. But he's describing it as very rigid because remember, this is a guy, the Dr. K here is very in line with Pac-Man's view of the world, but he's also good at what he does as a doctor. So he can listen to someone and have an open mind and listen to what they're saying and try to have an understanding what the person he's listening to talking about. So listen to some of the language he uses here.
They're like super rigid with their thinking.
Super rigid.
It's good. Once you make an emotional judgment, no nuclear bomb of truth will change your mind. So sometimes I'll talk to people who have very, very strong and rigid views. And it's not really my place to say what's logical or illogical. It's not, but I think what's really interesting is that if you listen to his life, like my experience with people, I don't really know 100% with him, but generally speaking, when there are people who grow up in really difficult circumstances, the need to adapt and survive has to come with a ton of rigidity, right? Like you got to wear a full plate armor in those kinds of situations. Like going to a court after being at a school and then like graduating from the school and wanting to go home and having your mom sit there.
The transphobia was completely unnecessary at the start of the interview, though. Well, oh, never mind. So anyway, let me let this guy talk
and say he can't come home.
Like, so he's starting to talk about some of the things that were in the interview. So, Jimmy had, was sent away to a school and was in some like kind of a juvenile detention at some point, and his mother wouldn't allow him to come home and wanted to ended up sending him somewhere else. But he made amends with his mother late in his life too, and actually defended his mother later in life, and even now to this day saying his mother did what the best she can. So that's what he's talking about here.
You got to build pretty big walls. And we can kind of like note, and I shared this with him. I mean, I almost never talk about people when they're not on stream, but I feel it's okay because he was just there and I told it to his face. But it's kind of interesting, right? Because he has a peculiar absence of like certain emotions. And what I've seen a lot in people who have traumatic upbringings, especially men, is that the most accessible emotion is like anger. And we can kind of see that. And it's kind of interesting to hear him sort of talk about, how angry he was and stuff like that. And then underneath that, so I kind of think about anger as an umbrella emotion, which means that it's the emotion that covers all other emotion.
Wait, what? God, some of the stuff there. Interesting. This guy says, I thought it was really sad how he missed out on raising that daughter. He seemed to really cares about her. Yeah, he does. He does care about his daughter, but his daughter, whatever interaction between the daughter's mother and him, has caused a rift between them. So that's whatever. Hang on. What was there's a part that I'm waiting for him to say, and I should have bookmarked these, but
you know, I have to imagine. I mean, I don't really know, but like, you know, if I had to put myself in his shoes, and you know, I did something right in terms of raising my daughter, and she wound up at Harvard of all places, in spite of all of her circumstances, I imagine I would feel pride. I imagine I would feel shame. I imagine I would feel angry at her for like not maintaining a relationship with me and allowing herself to be poisoned. And then I imagine that in addition to feeling angry with her, I would work really hard to devalue those feelings within myself. Right. So I would try to convince myself that I wasn't angry with her, because that's a crappy thing to do. And we want the best for her. And I don't really.
By the way, real quick, Jonathan Peterson, how you doing? Thomas Cleaver, T-Ball. I seen a bunch of names up here that I hadn't said hi to yet. There was a couple up here. Where was it at? Check Your Logic. I see you're here. Good morning. Let me get caught up here. Mooley Porchers. Nice to see you again. There was a couple of names I hadn't seen before. There was one, and I can't find it. Muslim Not Director. How you doing? Nice to see you. And if I didn't say hi, just it's not because I don't love you. It just means I didn't catch you in the chat. So hello, everybody. I'm trying to get the part where he's talking about
really
rigidity,
fault and all that kind of stuff.
Straight
right?
Sith
like,
Mail and David McDowell. How you doing?
And that's just kind of, you know, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I think it was just really eye-opening to talk to him. And I can sort of see now where a lot of like rigid beliefs sort of come from. And what I've noticed with people who are very like politically charged and also like don't express a whole lot of compassion is that there is an immense amount of rigidity that these people oftentimes like, so I remember back in 2016. So when Trump first won the election, so I was at, now,
listen to this carefully. Because when he says people who are politically charged or don't have, you know, are very rigid in their beliefs, he's not talking about people who think like him. He seems to only be talking about people who he disagrees with. And I find it fascinating that now maybe he understands that people who think like him can also be rigid in their beliefs and whatnot. But it's interesting how he goes through this and how it's Trump supporters, in particular, Trump supporters who are very rigid in their beliefs. And he psychoanalyzes how, you know, why a certain segment of society will support Trump, even though they're only a part of the people who support Trump. So listen to this carefully.
Training at Harvard Medical School at the time. And like, I was in this like group therapy education thing. So I was like in a classroom with like a bunch of my colleagues and like psychologists and stuff like that, PhD students. And so people were talking about the election and how it made them feel. And so I sort of shared this idea. I was like, you know, everyone's like, I don't understand how anyone could vote for Trump. He's like so despicable. And they kind of point out like all of like the worst things in their mind about Trump. And so I sort of said, because I'm from Texas, right? So I've like talked to some of these people and I sort of said like, you know, I don't think people are voting for him because of those things. I think y'all are missing like a big part of what he's appealing to. And
now, notice he doesn't describe the people from Harvard as rigid in their beliefs, even though they quite are. By the way, thank you, Thomas Cleaver, for the most patriotic donation ever. The 1776, who says, thought I was going to have to give you an FTG there for a second. Kapow! Give me personally an FTG? Oh, no, I saw you there, brother. I saw you, my brother. You're there. I see you. Anyway, yeah, you know, it's interesting. He can't necessarily see that those people from Harvard might be rigid. It's, you know, those kind of people. I talk to those type of people, those other people, those weird people who might think of voting for Trump for whatever reason they do. Notice that? Did you notice that? Did you catch that?
what Trump is really appealing to is that like there are a lot of people who have been growing increasingly disenfranchised. They're getting squeezed. Their life is getting worse. And like year after year, like all they see is like the sort of the easy life of the 80s and 90s kind of like decaying towards 2016. You know, your house is in disrepair. You've got like a truck on cinder blocks in your front yard. You know, you can't afford health care and all.
So in Dr. K's mind, typical Trump supporter is someone whose house is in disrepair, their truck's up on cinder blocks in the yard. He sees them as all unsophisticated hicks, and it doesn't even cross his mind that he's saying this. It's amazing because, you know, he's a Harvard-trained psychiatrist, right? And he sees anyone who would vote for Trump, oh my God, they're just probably some hillbillies who got to, maybe some might even have a still out in the trees somewhere. It's fascinating.
All that kind of stuff.
Not that it could be a college-educated black man like me. or many of you are very smart people, you know. I'm pretty sure some of you own businesses and some of, you know, whatever. But I'm just laughing at the description. Hello, John Connor, and also Straight Sith Male. I see you there.
And so what he was like a great big screw you to the system. And I just don't think that like people in the academic setting, like I don't think they've spent time in like, you know, rural Ohio or rural Texas, so they can't fathom what these people go through. And what I found time and time and time again is that, you know, people who are very like rigid politically and also like Trump kind of supporters.
People who are rigid politically and are, you know, Trump supporters? Really? Are you rigid politically, Dr. K? When you describe it, clearly, if you think the Trump supporters are rigid, aren't you also rigid politically, just on a different side? You can't. I'm fascinated by this talk. Hello, Blue Fat, P-Dawg. I have the whole vid from Pac-Man if you need. No, I have it. I have it. Oh, does Pac-Man have this on his own stream too? I would love to see his description of this. Hang on, maybe I'll go over there too. How much time do I have? Oh, I'm almost out of time. But I wanted this part fascinated me when he's talking about people who are rigid politically, when he even talks about the conversation he has with those other people from Harvard who were just like, oh, I just can't believe someone would vote for this man, without even having a sense of why they might vote for him, what policies versus what they believe is true versus what Trump is. And I just find it hilarious. You know, this is a pot kettle moment for Dr. K. Let's see here.
Is that their lives are like incredibly hard.
Oh,
and I don't
are they?
quite understand. I don't mean to say, I think it's actually like really kind of unfair to say that if your life sucks, like that's why you support Trump. Like people have their beliefs for a reason.
My life didn't suck at all, Dr. K. I live a pretty good life. Swimming pools, movie stars. I live in the Beverly Hills of Minnesota, basically. Well, maybe not that swanky, but you know what I mean? I got a nice house with a pool, nice green yard, you know. Thank you, Thomas K. Thomas Cleaver, another donation. Oh, by the way, Thomas Cleaver, you are the new Streamland Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you for sponsoring the show, people. There's a link right there if you want to sponsor the show. Another who dropped another bullet in the tip jar. How'd you get a college education without an ID, dog? You know, here's the thing. They needed black people at that college. So I just, you know, I sent my name in on a postcard and they said, oh, he's black. Let's let him in. Anyway, I got a cement pond. That's right. All right. Here we go here.
And we should respect that instead of, you know, assigning some kind of weird psychological reason.
Yeah, he just sees
it's just
Trump's
a pattern that I've noticed that when people have really hard lives,
they have to have hard lives.
You know, sometimes it really
Trump.
Galvanizes them, and it's
do any people with hard lives. Are any people who have hard lives attracted to it? The Democratic message of where, oh, you're a victim, and we're going to give you free shit. Where does that attract anyone with hard lives? But you can't see that. That's I just again, and I don't think this guy's a bad guy at all. In fact, I really appreciated his approach to Jimmy, and got Jimmy to talk about a lot of things in his life. I learned a lot about Jimmy. And honestly, I have so much more respect for Jimmy now, even though I already had respect for him. But just the fact that some of the things he's gone through in his life, and he has this such a positive attitude, and he's kind of, he's still Philly. He's definitely Philly though. He's definitely Philly. Philly, I know other people from Philly, and you don't get away with anything with someone from Philly. They're good at chopping it up. And it's fun. It's razzing people, giving people a hard time. And they're just, everyone I know from Philly is like that. And it's cool. It's fun. It's a fun culture, but you cannot have a thin skin either. And Jimmy definitely does not. But yeah, no, I definitely appreciate Jimmy after watching this. Let's see. Let me see if he keeps going.
Like really they have to form really rigid thinking almost to sort of survive.
Kind of like the Harvard professors
of a world where each time, like the world gets, like each year that goes by, the world gets a little bit harder and a little bit harder and a little bit harder and a little bit harder.
That's just life, Dr.
And so
K.
I think I don't, it's something worth exploring. It's just a pattern that I've seen. And I think it's interesting because David even said, he was like, I'm not surprised to hear this story, which makes you think, right?
You know what though? And if again, you have to watch this yourself, but Jimmy very easily could live his life as a victim too, and want free shit, and have a different idea of how the world works. If you go through his background, okay, it's just here's a good question. Does having a hard life mean not owning the newest model of iPhone? If so, oh my God, I've had the hardest life ever, as I never own one of those pieces of shit. No, what I'm saying is, Jimmy went in and out of boarding schools and juvenile, and he's been in prison, and he's had a lot of things happen. He's been he's a convicted felon, and he had a bad time with the mother of his child. They had a thing, and he got accused of some shit that he said never happened, that caused him to not have a relationship with his daughter. But his daughter, he's fortunately his daughter has excelled despite the fact that her parents did not have a good relationship whatsoever. But anyway, I would highly recommend watching this. I'll put a link in the chat here if you want to watch this yourself. I'm gonna have to go watch Pac-Man's version of this too. Let me get off the screen here because I see King is in the green room, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring King on, and it's gonna be my only one today because I'm almost out of time here. So but go check out that video. It's fascinating just watching it and listening to this Dr. K summary where he can't see his own blind spots. And so I just find it very, very fascinating. Say what you want about Jimmy. This is true. Say what you want about Jimmy. He's very well read and knows a lot about a lot of things. He's also open to expanding his knowledge. I like Jimmy 100%. I agree with that 100%, Amy. Jimmy's just straight up good shit. The more I've learned about him listening to this talk, again, the more I respect him even more to have come through some of those things that he's come through. I mean, everyone has their story, and but again, I have 100% more respect for Jimmy than the 100% I already had. So anyway, all right, we'll do one guest here, and then we're gonna have to call it a day, and that would be Mr. King. It's the king of the common law. How you doing, my bro?
Howdy. Not too bad. Not too bad at all, actually.
Good to see you.
Man, things are really, everything's crazy. Everything's crazy.
Yeah.
I went to do I haven't done a show. I kind of cut out for the summer because it's riding season. I get busy.
Yeah.
I went to do a show the other day. I sat there speaking for about an hour and a half and figured out I didn't have my mic on.
Oh no.
That's what happens when you're a boomer.
That's funny because I figured that out when everyone yells at me in the chat.
Yeah, it is what it is, but no, it's all crazy. We're in an election up here, which is
tell me about that. Did he make a mistake? Did he make a mistake by calling an election? Do you think?
I am hoping so. Like I really, really am hoping so. He's the only place he has refuge right now is in Quebec, where he's from. But he's been booed out of every city, everywhere else in Canada.
Really? By the way, tell people what's going on because so they'll know what we're talking about.
Okay, well, we have a very left-wing Stalinist government that only had a minority. So second election, he got a minority on the first one. He got a minority on the second one. So now he's after a third one. This guy, his name's Trudeau. He's the son of another prime minister we had, who was also a great fan of Castro's. They're both fans of Castro's. And
real quick though, in a parliamentary system, the prime minister can call an election when? When can they do it?
If there's a no confidence vote, so if they go to put a bill across and they don't get the votes on it, they can call it a non-confidence bill. And if they don't get the votes, you're automatically in election. This one, he just called a snap election. And yesterday, he just threatened, well, if I don't get a majority this time, I'm calling another one in 18 months. But normally, it's 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this is Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, because not every American understands how the parliamentary system works, including myself completely. But I know that they can call an election, and he called one. And my understanding, like you said, he's not very popular anywhere but his kind of home province, right?
Yeah, he's not that popular there right now either. So I'm just hoping that they're wiped off the face of the planet. He's like, what do we got here? Okay, our conservatives are like your rhinos, and he is like more like a Hillary Clinton style,
right?
And then we have a People's Party, which the government also, the Trudeau gang, that's what I call them. They also took control over the election. So now they decide what media can interview them. They decide what media can come to the debates.
Sounds like that sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. Do they give them a list of people to come on?
Pretty much.
And do you know who they are? Because we don't know who they are in the States. We just know they give him lists. And
well, you have your CNN. We have our CBC, which is not unlike the BBC, but it's publicly funded, forcibly publicly funded. So it's crazy. But yeah, no, the guy just threatened yesterday, if I don't get a majority, then I'm going to call another election in 18 months. But everything going on is worldwide. It's not unique to the States. It's not unique to anywhere. There's a whole globalist thing going on, and they're trying. They're forcing out the vax passports, and that's one thing this election's about. And there's only one party that wishes to not have this. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't see much future for anybody, for the free world. Period. Actually, so, and we've already got our camps. He already built the camps, one in every province. So we got 13 camps.
So what are they doing at those camps? Tell me about the camps. I'm not.
Well, there's supposedly for those who don't get vaxxed, and then he's hiring. They're trying to contract out staff for it right now. So nobody wants to talk about that. They had Bill C-10 and Bill C-36, where one was where the government gets control over the internet and can knock you off the internet if they don't like what you're saying. Bill C-10 is if somebody doesn't like what you say, they can take you to human rights court, but they don't have to show up at court or identify themselves to take you to human rights court. These are two bills that they were trying to force in here just before the election. It's crazy. Yeah. I might just put everything in Bitcoin and move to Texas. I was thinking about it.
And someone asked, he's talking about the COOF camps, right? That's what they're
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you think they're, as far as the control of the internet, are they trying to do like how they're doing in Australia right now? Like where they've gone just full on, we get control of whatever you do on the internet? Is that what they're trying?
That's what they wish to do. Yeah.
Oh, good God.
Absolutely. And they have the help of the corporate internet guys, like Twitter and Facebook. And I mean, even guys that have like Facebook groups where they're teaching people how to do their own canning and stuff. Right. They're being kicked off of Facebook because it's extreme something or another.
Oh, yeah, prepping. Like they're they were doing that. They were I mean, they're doing that here somewhat too. They were saying that what was it? They were trying to. They had something on where they're showing you how to do something, and they got booted for being preppers and being dangerous because they're preppers. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
We've always had preppers.
I know, but yeah, like you said, things who do canning. Like my wife, maybe I should.
Well, hey,
wow,
when we
cans jellies, and I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube.
Well, hey, when we were kids, our parents' canning was normal, like.
Oh yeah, my grandmother had a whole wall that was shelves that go down into the basement, and it was just full of canned peaches, green beans, and this and that, and jellies and jams and vegetables and stuff. She had canned everything out there. And it's been the destruction of small family farms and growing cities where we've lost that art because of the food chain, but. I think the food chain is going to be broken here this year. It sure looks like it. It's it's funny. When I go to the store and there's whole sections of things missing, which it never happens.
Yeah.
It does make you wonder, but it's really weird.
Well, and then we had the drought up here. So I don't know how it was in North Dakota for the farmers, but I know in Manitoba, just above there, I mean, it's a dust bowl.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys had to sell off their livestock because they couldn't feed them.
Are they? Do they allow much irrigation systems? I noticed the farms here. Like when we were driving up in north of Minnesota, all the farms were irrigated, probably well irrigated, whatever, from well systems or whatever. So I was surprised at how like the corn crops and things were just huge, like normal, even though we have had a pretty serious drought over the summer.
Yeah, we're allowed irrigation. The only problem is you have to have access to the water for it. So
right, yeah. So and that's when, like, for example, that's the problem in California, getting access to the water to irrigate all the. It's supposed to be the breadbasket of the country, but if you don't have water, you can't grow shit.
Well, I heard a third of the farms down there aren't producing this year.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But yeah. But some of the things that are missing in the stores are weird. Like, what was an example? I was over there. I was at a store yesterday or 2 days ago, and God, what was it? Was like pop. Like half the soda aisle was missing. And I was like, why would that be missing? Why are they short on stuff like that? Who knows?
A lot of certain dog foods were missing. What else did I notice?
Yeah, there was
toilet paper.
Yeah, toilet paper's back. It's all back in full force. At least at Sam's Club it was. But although now they're talking about people possibly starting to do some hoarding again with the waves of the Delaries and whatnot. But,
well, my neighbor runs an old shovel head Harley, so I keep it fixed. So I'm in for half of one of his Scottish Highlander cows this year. So he's going to butcher up in October. So I'll get half of that. That should do me for the winter.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, I still have a full freezer. We would just buy extra stuff like every time we go to the store and put it in suck bags and throw it in the freezer. So I've got a full freezer of food, and we have a bunch of canned stuff down here, but not like prepper stuff. We didn't. YouTube, we're not doing any canning. Facebook, we're not doing any canning. I just got some extra stuff down in the basement just in case. Anyway.
Well, you're always supposed to have a few days worth, anyways.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey, what's the story on Staten Island there? How they faring?
Oh, from the water. I don't know if you're talking about. I didn't pay attention to the news. I know that there was some flooding just but it's from rain. It's just from the hurricane that went up through New Orleans. It went up through the East Coast, and it's rain. It's not like, so the things I've seen on Facebook. Oh, see, global warming. No, it's not the ocean rising. It's the stuff coming from above you, idiots. If you get too much rain, sometimes streets flood. Oh, so scary. Because look, you'll know when to really be concerned when the Obamas move. When the Obamas moves from Martha's Vineyard because they have to, then I'll be concerned about rising oceans. But guess what? If you put some ice in a glass and the ice melts, it usually doesn't raise the glass that much. That's the polar. That's the North Pole. If the South Pole melts, then I'll be concerned. Maybe the ocean should rise a little bit. Whatever. I live in Minnesota. I'm going to be just fucking fine. So whatever. If you live in Canada, you'll be just fine. In fact, if you live in the Dakotas, Minnesota, Michigan, northern states, or Canada, I'd love it to be a little warmer here. So there you go.
Well, if this government gets back in, we won't have any more free speech, freedom of expression. They're after all our guns, and they're talking about outlawing hunting and fishing. Now one of the main principles of this land is, because we're a common law land, is that everyone has the right to forage for their necessities. And Trudeau there, he likes to say Canadians have no rights, so you only have privileges. I heard him say that the other day. This is why I do my thing, because I teach people the difference between a person and the man or woman. So
he is his father.
He's worse. Much worse. He's not near as smart and way more dangerous.
No. I mean his real father.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You've seen the pictures, have you?
I've seen the pictures. He looks exactly like young Castro. So I'm just like, you know what? He doesn't look anything like Pierre at all.
No, not at all.
So anyway.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Too bad he didn't come out looking like Mick Jagger. I don't know if you know that story, but
I don't know that story, but I can imagine. I'll have to catch that one another time. But anyway.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for coming on. I'm so glad you came on, and we'll see you another time.
Cheers.
All right, man.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go. But and I know there's Jonas Pedersen. I know I saw you there, and I didn't say hi. And there's a couple other names that I probably missed. I said John Connor. Oh, Vanessa, how you doing? Nice to see you back. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go. But before you click anything, please. You're the sponsor of the show. Click the like button. That helps. Click the share the stream out, because I failed in that department. And then also, if you want to sponsor the show, there's information in the description down below on how you can do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you want to do that. If you use Streamlabs or YouTube SuperChats during the show, I will obviously relay your message to everybody else. And I will also, if you do Streamlabs off hours, that's 24/7 too. So you can leave a message and we'll talk about it in the next stream. And then also just let us know what you think about, if you happen to go watch that video from the healthy, I'll put it in the description too, from Dr. K. It's called Healthy Gamer GG. If you want to watch that whole thing with Jimmy the Philly, again, here's the link in the chat again, and I'll put it in the description down below. Check that out. It's very interesting, and you get some insight on Jimmy's life, but you learn nothing about David Pakman. So we'll have to figure out if we can get him to actually debate HB or not. But anyway, leave a comment in the comment section if you're watching on replay, so that I know you dropped by. And check out the merch at PDawgKnight.live. I still have the Resist Faucism merchandise. I will eventually add some other stuff. I have some ideas kicking around in my head finally that we'll put some new merch out there. But thank you for everyone for supporting the show. Thank you for participating in the chat. And if you're watching, lurking, working, driving, whatever, I'm glad you stayed safe for the show. That's it for today, though, folks. It's time for me to go. My name is PDawgKnight. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day.